The crisis of self-esteem. Why it's not enough. Hello and welcome. I'm so grateful you're here with me today. Take a deep breath. This is your space. A moment for you. I believe healing begins when we create safe spaces where truth, tenderness, and transformation can emerge. And that's what I hope this space will be for you. Today, we begin a journey that will take us far beyond the surface of positive thinking, motivational slogans, or trying to feel good about ourselves. We're going to talk about something deeper, something essential, the crisis of self-esteem. You see, for decades, we've been taught that self-esteem is the foundation of a healthy life, and there is some truth to that. When we feel confident, we tend to function better, relate better, and take more risks. But what if I told you that self-esteem, as we usually understand it, is not enough? Let's begin with a question. What happens when our self-esteem is shaken? When we fail? When someone criticizes us? When we lose a job? When we feel invisible? Often, our entire sense of self begins to crumble. Why? Because our self-esteem is usually built on fragile ground. It's built on how others see us, on what we achieve, on how much we can control our image. In other words, it's conditional, and anything conditional, by definition, can be taken away. I want to invite you into a new perspective, one that shifts the focus away from performance and appearance and towards something much more solid, the esteem of the deep self. But before we go there, let's gently explore what we mean by self-esteem and why it often doesn't hold up when life gets hard. Think of self-esteem as a psychological strategy we build early in life. As children, we learn that we get approval when we behave a certain way. We get praise when we succeed or when we make others happy. And so if we start to form a version of ourselves, a persona, that performs for love. This is natural. Every child does it. But when we grow up, many of us don't outgrow this pattern. We continue to seek worth by trying to be impressive or by hiding the parts of ourselves that seem less lovable. Here's the truth many people live with, but rarely name. They are terrified of not being enough, and so we see the rise of perfectionism. Constant comparison, anxiety over failure, even burnout from trying to prove our value. Self-esteem becomes a prison, because no matter how hard we try, we never quite feel safe inside ourselves. Can you relate to that? Your need for love and acceptance is completely human, but the path toward healing is not about inflating your ego. It's about rediscovering who you are beneath your roles and accomplishments. Let me give you a visual metaphor. Imagine a beautiful tree. Its leaves and branches represent your personality, your achievements, your strengths. But what holds that tree up is the root system, deep underground. Self-esteem is like the branches. It grows, changes, gets trimmed. But the esteem of the deep self is the root. It's what nourishes everything above. When the storms of life come, and they do, only a deeply rooted tree stands firm. And so, if your self-esteem has felt shaky, maybe it's a sign. Not that you're weak, but that it's time to go deeper. Let's talk about a few of the dangers of relying solely on surface-level self-esteem. 1. It's dependent on external validation. You feel good only when others approve. A compliment lifts you up. A criticism brings you down. 2. It's performance-based. You feel worthy only when you're achieving something. Rest feels like laziness. Failure feels like identity collapse. 3. It's image-driven. You craft a version of yourself to be liked, but inside, you may feel disconnected or even empty. 4. It creates anxiety because you're constantly monitoring how you're doing. There's little room for stillness or simply being. Let's pause and go deeper into each of these because they reveal just how much energy we spend trying to maintain a fragile sense of self. 1. External validation. This one runs deep. From early childhood, we learn to associate our value with approval, be it from parents, teachers, peers, or partners. And as adults, we carry this conditioning. We might something online and feel a rush of worth when it gets liked, or a sinking feeling when it's ignored. We might adjust our personalities in social settings just to be accepted. The danger here is subtle but profound. When our value is tied to others' opinions, we become strangers to ourselves. We hand over the keys to our self-worth. 2. Performance-based identity in a culture that prizes productivity, it's easy to confuse doing with being. We feel good when we're checking off goals, meeting expectations, staying on top of things. But what happens when we slow down? Or when we fall short? We may feel unmoored, as though without our accomplishments, we disappear. This is a dangerous illusion that our worth must be earned through constant effort. And over time, it leads to fatigue, imposter syndrome, or emotional numbness. 3. Image-driven selfhood. We live in an era obsessed with appearances, curated lives, filtered smiles, polished resumes. It's easy to fall into the trap of managing our image rather than living our truth. But this comes at a cost. When we feel compelled to hide our flaws or struggles, we begin to lose touch with who we really are. Relationships become shallow, vulnerability becomes terrifying, and we may feel unseen. Even when we're surrounded by people, true connection requires authenticity, and authenticity can't exist where image is in control. 4. Chronic anxiety. When your worth feels unstable, you're always scanning your environment. How do I come across? Did I say the right thing? Am I enough today? This mental overactivity creates constant tension. It's like running an emotional surveillance system 24/7. There's no space for quiet joy, for deep rest, or even for mistakes. Anxiety becomes the background noise of life, and over time, it can wear down your nervous system, affect your relationships, and erode your sense of peace. So yes, these dangers are real, and recognizing them is not about judgment. It's about awareness, because awareness is the first step toward freedom. Does any of that resonate with you? This is why we talk about the crisis of self-esteem, because more and more people are exhausted by trying to be enough. But here's the good news. There's another way, a way rooted in compassion, in inner truth, in what some call the soul. Let me ask you this. Have you ever had a moment when you felt completely at peace with yourself? Not because of success or praise, but just because you were still, honest, present. That moment, however brief, was a glimpse of your deep self. It's not flashy. It doesn't shout. But it holds the power to transform your life. Because when you begin to live from your deep self, you no longer need to prove your worth. You no longer chase love. You embody it. And this changes everything. Let's end today with a gentle practice. Take a moment now. Place your hand over your heart. Close your eyes if you can, and whisper silently or aloud, I am enough, even when I don't feel like it. I am worthy, not because of what I do, but because of what I am. Let those words settle into you, not as a mantra to force, but as a truth to welcome. This is just the beginning. In our next episode, we'll begin to explore what the deep self really is and how to reconnect with it in daily life. But for now, rest in the knowledge that you are more than your performance, more than your mistakes, more than what others think. You are already deeply worthy. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Until next time, take care of your inner world.